And good evening. It's Kimberly, and we are back in the workshop working on this bedroom set. And so if you're just joining me, thank you for jumping on. 7 p.m. We might be a few minutes late here. Had a little surprise. My daughter, who is over the road, blew in tonight, and so we just finished up dinner, and I did want to jump on here and get going with you guys, but want to just kind of cover some ground here on some things that we were working on. Obviously, we have been working on this piece on our last live, so on that live we cleaned it, and what I mean by cleaning is we came in and we used our White Lightning cleaner. I put it in a spray bottle. Here's our spray bottle. I use an old Bona bottle. These are great bottles. And I also have my Scotch-Brite. So that's what I clean it with. So I put my White Lightning cleaner, about a teaspoon of it, in my bottle with some warm water. And that's what we cleaned it with on our last live video. That was Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. You can go back over on our Facebook page and you can find that over there. So we got it all clean. And in the meantime, I have scuff sanded this piece. So this is our sanding disc, and I have scuff sanded it, and then I came in here and I cleaned that sanding dust back off with a damp cloth, and have it ready now so we can move forward to paint. So with that, I am still painting both the chalk line as well as the silk line. Tonight I will be doing the silk line, as I'm thinking I'm going to do the silk line on the bottom part of this piece, and then on the top I will do my chalk line. Sometimes I mix it up like that, so you can intermix it in that sense. So if you want to paint the bottom half in the chalk paint so you can get some blending accomplished, you can do that, and do the top part in a in the silk line where you're just finishing off the top. Either way works fine for that. And believe it or not, I painted it in the silk color is Serenity that I'm going to paint with tonight. It's a lovely color, and I felt like it would really do the piece justice. I feel like if I was to paint this in a white tone, that you really wouldn't see the curvatures of this piece, and it wouldn't really stand out to you as much if it was in a white color. And so, not to go too dark with it, I did choose the Serenity color. Again, if you're just joining me, my name is Kimberly. I'm with Unique Finds and Furniture Designs. Thank you for jumping on with us, and welcome to our workshop lives. So if you have any questions out there concerning any of the products that we use in this broadcast, I'm featuring Dixie Belle paint products in both their chalk line as well as their silk line. So with that said, we're going to get underway because I got all the hard part done. So it's the fun night, if you will. The prep is not always the funnest part of your job, but yet it's the most important part. As I explained to one of my customers or clients this morning. So if you guys are out there and you want to have a consult, or you want to go over some information on these different projects and different paint products that we have, just reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. I would be more than happy to meet with you, discuss the different lines and how they might interwork for what you're doing with your project, and kind of help give you some guidance on whether you want to go with the chalk line or whether if you want to go with the silk line. And obviously that's what we're here for, to help guide you to get the best look for your projects. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I am using Serenity. This is in the silk line by Dixie Belle. Beautiful, creamy, dreamy color. This paint is amazing. The coverage is phenomenal. So, and the reason I'm using it also on the bottom half is because I know that any cherry, any mahogany or teak line of furniture is going to have an issue when it comes to bleed through. And so with this being as dark as it is, I can assure you it's going to bleed. So that's another reason why I'm using the silk line, is because we already have that bleed blocker prevention in the silk line as well as the top coat. So it's just kind of a little bit quicker. and presents a real nice finish. So that's what we're gonna paint on this tonight. And I'm trying to determine which brush. I have two brushes here with me. Both brushes are dry. Obviously, I have well-loved brushes. One is the oval medium brush and the other one is the flat mini. Either one of these would be great. Obviously, the flat mini has a little bit of a wider brush end, as this one does not. So when you're working on the top, sometimes the brush does matter on the width of your brush when you're working for a long surface. So a lot of times, you know, I just kind of depend on what I'm working on, which brush I'm going to choose. And I think I might have used the flat on the nightstand. So I have two nightstands and this big dresser. And as you can see, the tall dresser behind me is also part of this set. However, I think I'm gonna hold off and do it just kind of a little bit different than this set. So let's get going on it. So you guys, I know you don't have all evening, and I can just kind of show you how this color is going to go on. And I'm thinking, this is a heavy piece. I'm thinking I'm gonna pull it over this way and give you guys a look-see at where we're going, because I normally start at the base, and I tell a lot of people, never mind my mess in the background, y'all. So I did paint a nightstand in this color already, as well as a big, huge mirror, so you can see how much paint I've actually used out of this. So like I said, one nightstand and a mirror, and I did one coat on each. So I'm pretty sure that I will get both of the nightstands, this dresser, and the mirror all painted 2 coats with this one can, and that's 16 ounces. And you see the project that we're working on. So we got this big, large piece, and then you can kind of see that mirror there behind me, behind that other piece. And the nightstands are also right here beside me. And yes, I'm gonna put it this way so you guys can see. What a mess, right? I got all of this stuff behind me working on. And you can see, this is the nightstand. I painted it in the, on the blue, in the, what do I want to call that color? No, it wasn't Baja Gray. It was one of our blues. And I painted it in Silkline, but I really feel like this color does more justice to the piece. So as you can see, and then I did it in that color. So I'm really liking that one, which is our Serenity, versus the Bay Breeze. I'll get it out. The Bay Breeze color. So I did decide to go with this other color. I just feel like it does justice to the piece a little bit more. So let me get going on that. Of course, I'm going to have to plop down on the floor. I got this up off the floor a little bit so that I could work on it and roll it around, because it is kind of heavy. And let's just get going here on a corner so you guys can kind of see where we are, because you don't even really need to see me. You can see how I've sanded it down, and taking that first layer down, knocked it back so that my paint will stick nice to my piece. And I'm working with this, I think I'm gonna go ahead and use my oval medium, and obviously it's dry. It's not wet, it's a dry brush. And we're going to go with the Serenity in the silk. So let's get going so you guys can see. This is the fun side of the island tonight. We put in our time doing the not so fun. I better show you this too. And I'm gonna load my brush. See how much paint I have on my brush. That's the Serenity. And I'm just gonna get started here so you guys can see and get on with your evening. So I'm just going to show you how easy, dreamy, creamy. Look at, I mean, the coverage is outstanding on this Silkline. And I'm going over dark. This is not a real dark color, but you can see how wonderful it goes on. And already you've pretty much, just seeing that, you can see how much it's going to change this old dresser. So it's going to just bring it up. And what I love, obviously, with this as well, is that it's going to have all that it needs. The top coat, it's got my base in there, my primer base. It's going to keep my piece protected from that bleed through. Those are super, super important. I'd rather know it now, and that's what I was telling one of my clients this morning. It's best to know it right up front that your piece is going to be a bleeder to prepare for it, and that way when you're painting and you walk out tomorrow, you're not going to be disappointed because you already knew, you were already prepared. And so that's why I went with the silk line. Now, if I was painting this in the other line, I would use a bleed blocker. So I would put my Boss on it. That's just, it's inevitable when you have this color project going on. So I'm just going to come in here and add this beautiful Serenity color. I got to thinking about a bedroom and the colors that I would like to see it in, and I started thinking, you know, even just in the name itself, Serenity is already speaking to me. I'm going to pull this up. Look how beautiful this paint is. And I'm going to use this, why I chose kind of the oval medium, just so that I could work it around the hardware. Because you know me, am I going to leave the hardware like this? I'm going to paint it. And then I'll probably do a little something to it, because I always do. It's just kind of my signature. Look how beautiful. I can't say enough about how wonderful. Of course, Dixie-Belle always has a tendency to bring on the magic. Anytime you pull out their jar, you're gonna bring on some magic. You see how that bows now? You can actually see the bow in this, just adding this color. Whereas before, you didn't even notice it. And you see how I'm doing it? I'm just kind of working my way from one side to the other. But you couldn't even really tell that this drawer was a bow drawer till you started adding your paint. Now, thankfully tonight in North Carolina, the weather's pretty nice. I've been working on another project on the other side. We're double timing it in the workshop this week, trying to get some projects out. Be spring break before you know it. So I am hitting it on both ends here. So this is the Serenity color. And you see how, look at that coverage. I hope you guys can see that. Hey, Miss Kathy, how are you, girlfriend? So Kayla Blue in town. I was going to call you today. I thought, you know, we were supposed to have done lunch forever ago. What's it been, 3 weeks? And life has been so busy, we hadn't even got that. Hadn't even got there. And Kayla surprised me today. Her birthday is the 8th. And she comes rolling in today, and I'm like, can't be more happier than to see that truck roll up in that driveway. I'm telling you guys, if you're a truck driver's mother, you know what I'm talking about. You worry your guts out over them being out there on the road and all the crazy drivers that they have to deal with, and then to see the truck roll safely in, I don't know. It's just, there's just a feeling. Can't explain it. But anyway. So I'm showing you how that's going on. So yeah, now you can kind of see the bowness in this piece when I start adding this Serenity color. Again, this is Serenity in the all-in-one silk line. Look how beautiful this dresser is going to be. Not that it's not beautiful. I'm just upscaling it a little bit into today's society. Obviously, I picked this set up from Habitat for Humanity, like I was saying on our last video. Habitat, Goodwill. Hey, don't forget the thrift shops, you know. There's a lot of thrift stores in our area, and you can sometimes find some really good finds on there. Obviously, Marketplace, a lot of people go there. But you can never know what you're going to find at some of these thrift stores. So put them on your list to stop in and check them out. You never know what you'll find. So again, I'm just kind of working my paint. I'm working in one direction, but I'm trying to really pull off that bow front feel, because I want you to be able to see that. And now I'm going to come in here. So I'm coming over this cherry paint. We did clean it, just to recap. We did clean it. We did lightly scuff sand it. And then we wipe that scuff sanding back off with a damp cloth. And I'm wedging my paint all up in. That's why I'm using this oval medium brush. And it's not that I'm making it look easy. It is just this easy, dreamy paint. Look at the coverage. If I was to come in here and want to add a little, like, come in with a, what I want to say. If I was going to come in here and add some dry brushing, there, I'll spit it out. This is a good way to start, because you can dry brush, which I probably will on my hardware, and come in with a lighter tone and dry brush that hardware and kind of give that hardware another little extra pop, because you know that's just kind of my signature. That's what I do. And I'm so short, and I got this sitting up on the wheels here, so I gotta get up a little higher. Gotta have my spectacles on, because you know age is hitting me as well. Gotta get up here and see what's going on. So you're seeing just how easy it is to transform this great big old dresser that a lot of people think is wore out. Obviously, it's a solid piece of wood. This is a Bassett Bassett dresser. So it's solid. I'm just gonna come up in here and get some color on this. Look at the coverage too. I'm working all in my hardware. I always paint my hardware. I love painted hardware. I don't know, just kind of adds a lot of character to it. And I had somebody ask me, I don't seem to have any issue with my paint wearing off my hardware. So far, I've never had that problem, but I guess it's possible. Anything's possible. Some people would put Slick Stick over the top of it first, maybe. I don't know. Like I say, I've never had any issues with my hardware. But I clean my hardware. As you can see, my hardware's been cleaned, as well as slightly sanded over it even. So I did rough up my hardware a little. Again, I'm just wedging my paint with my oval medium brush. And you notice when I paint, I don't really get paint all down over my brush. I just pretty much keep it on the edge of my brush. I try not to really get it, as you can see, too far down into my bristles. I don't always get my paint right down in there. I keep it kind of on the tops. And I think that kind of helps. And this Silkline paint is a little bit thinner. Well, actually, it's a lot thinner than our Chalkline. So the biggest problem that I have noticed when I am painting is just being mindful of any drips, I think is the big one, if you're thinking of along those lines. So I'm just going to come in here and make sure I bring this up. Might bring it up and under. I don't know. I'm probably going to paint that in a darker color to contrast. Perhaps if you want to use the same line, you could probably come in here with the Wharf on the top. Or if you wanted to use the chalk line, I might come in here with Hurricane Gray on the top, or even a Gravel Road would be really pretty. Actually make a nice contrast between the two. But as you're seeing me paint this, you can already see where it's already starting to dry. When it starts to do that, don't go back over it, you know, because you might see lines or something. Just let it dry completely and then come back the next time tomorrow or whatever, after it's had a chance to cure, and come back in then and go back and you know, hit any little places that you might have missed. I'm just going to move y'all right along with me, because we pretty much have gotten that whole door, that whole side done, and you can see the coverage there. You can't even really see through that. Look how beautiful. And this is the Silkline with the in the Serenity, with the top coat and the bleed blocker built in. So I'm just going to bring you on with me so we can go on about our business here. So if you're with me tonight, let me know who you are, where you're viewing from, so that I can say hello, and what your projects you might be working on. any questions that you might have for either line. That's what we're here for. Shoot them at us, ask us any questions, and I'm more than happy to jump in and help you guys out on whatever project you might be working on. Just reach out to us. And I do paint my drawers right in place, then I pull my drawers out and paint behind them, if that makes any sense. Everybody has their own way of doing it after you do it for a while. Now the other piece that I was telling you about, I'm working on a hutch in the background there, is a complete, what do I want to say, laminate. It's a, it's a laminate. And I should jump over there and show you guys before the workshop is over. I did a before picture, and it just came in, and what am I doing? I am painting laminate. So when you go to paint laminate, let's remember, it's a microfiber wood board with a laminate top, kind of like an IKEA piece. Not that I'm trying to, knock IKEA. I'm just going to say it's kind of very much like an IKEA piece where you have your laminate, you have your microfiber wood board, and your laminate's over that. In order to paint laminate, remember that you need to use your slick stick. Clean it really well, and put your slick stick on, because you need your paint something to adhere to, and those laminates on IKEA type, it's a hutch, so I got a top and bottom over there, and it is a laminate all the way. It's got a little bit of wood as trim and oak on it, which we're obviously completely redoing that piece, and we will show you that as well. That project's going on the other side of the workshop. And I did get the slick stick on it today, so it is sitting over there and curing. I always suggest, if you are working with a laminate, when you get your slick stick on, let it cure. I say let it cure overnight. I know it says on the thing, I think it says on our container a couple hours, and you can go ahead, depending on your climate too. If you are working and you're out in Texas, or poor Texas, they got all that snow, but I'm just saying, not too long ago, a week ago maybe, that's not the norm for them. But if you're working in those climates, Texas, Arizona, places like that where it's super hot, Florida even, you are dealing with a whole different climate than we are. So your products will probably cure a whole lot quicker, and it will dry faster. As you can see how this is drying on the other side of me here, and that's why I say don't go back over it, and you overwork the paint, and you'll pull more paint off than you're putting on. So, and that's one of the things with our silk line. As it starts to cure, just go ahead and let it cure up and dry. I have found also, when you are using either line, whether you're using our silk line or you're using the chalk mineral line, I have found that if you do get a run or something on it that you don't like, you can come back in and sand it a little bit and then paint over it, and you won't have to paint the whole drawer. You can just paint that one area and you'll never notice it. That's what I love about Dixie Belle paint products. It just blends so easily right back into itself, and that's pretty much due to the self-leveling content. And so as you can see already on this side, because it is warmer, so you can see the wet versus the dry. So you can see that the silk line goes on a little lighter and dries a little darker, and it's vice versa on the chalk line. It goes on a little darker and dries lighter, in my opinion. So it's a little different, little variance there on these two products when it comes to that, when the drying. So this will dry a tad darker, as you can see over here, how you can see how it's drying and the darker look to it versus this fresh paint where it still looks a little bit wet and it's lighter. So you can bear that in mind too. That's a perfect example when you're here working on such a large piece and just keep going. You're like, oh, what's going on? That's what it is. It's drying. Now it's drying on the top, but it's not cured underneath. So obviously, it's not completely cured. It's just in that drying stage. And you'll see it look kind of different while it's drying than the dried version or the wet version. I'm just going to keep on painting here so I can show you pretty much how long it takes to do a 6-drawer dresser. And I'm not sure even how long we've been on just yet, because I've been running my mouth talking to you guys, trying to give you as much information as I can on what you can do on your pieces with whichever paint line you want to jump into with. Again, I'm using the oval medium brush, but a good flat, you know, and I'm using a synthetic brush on top of that. I'm using not a China bristle brush, so it's a little different too. I use a China bristle. I use this for all of them though. I use a synthetic brush across the board. Every once in a while I'll use a China bristle brush, not as much as I used to, because once you get a good synthetic brush, you rarely go back to using a bristle brush. Most of the time when I use a China bristle brush now, it's just for dry brushing hardware, because I can kind of get a really light stroke when I am just barely wanting to put any paint on. And so that kind of helps me with using a China bristle brush, because when you're dry brushing, you're pretty much knocking all the paint off your brush and you're coming in and just barely hitting this hardware. That's what we did on that last blue dresser, the coastal dresser that we finished. So I am kind of sticking with that coastal theme here, going along and just kind of working with that coastal thing. I've got, obviously, the beaches on my mind, thinking about, you know, the tropics and the warmer weather. We had that little bit of warm weather, and just, you know, put it on my mind. Florida state of mind, you might call it. Obviously, back home. So I've been in a Florida state of mind lately in my painting, in my projects, with the different pieces that we've been pushing out lately out of the workspace. And I do love blues, and this obviously is kind of a blue-green. And I do love blue hues, so that too is probably what spoke to me when I pulled this Serenity color out, and thinking of in a bedroom being a serene place to kind of retreat to. Serenity kind of spoke to me for those reasons as well. So if you guys have any questions for me, shoot them at me. Can't see who's here exactly with me at the moment, and I know sometimes you guys can't join me right while I'm doing my live, but we'll jump on here after and be able to get a chance to view it. So I do appreciate you being here and with us and following our workshops in the different projects we jump into in here, and we try to change them up, kick them up a notch, do some different things. Using all the different products, the gemstone mousses, the gilding waxes, you know, whatever. We try to, the moonshine metallics. We got so many beautiful products to work with. The sky is really the limit when it comes to being creative on your end, because you can create whatever hues and looks and desires that you want with our chalk line as well as our silk line, because our products are made to work together. And with the silk line, if you want to be creative and intermingle different colors to create your own look and effect, you can. Keeping the chalk with the chalk and the silk with the silk, you can still, you know, do whatever cool ideas you have up in your head to do with your pieces. Excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead here and pretty much, and now like I say, I'm going to do the top in a different color. But I wanted to kind of show you guys about how long it takes to do this is a 9-drawer dresser. And you see the coverage is super amazing. So by the time this dries, there's a good possibility you don't have to do a second coat. I mean, you could if you wanted to. Just depends on what you're doing after this. If you're coming in here and adding a little something to give it a different look, then obviously you're going to get enough coverage off of the first coat that you're probably not going to need to do that. So again, I'm just coming in and I'm kind of tamping in the color in between all of this. The hardware is beautiful on this piece. So obviously I'm going to want to come in and pop a little bit of something on that hardware. And then I'll show you about how much paint we've used. Mind you, I'm not doing the top in the same color. I do want to contrast my top from my bottom. And I want to contrast out my beautiful little hardware here. So I'm just going to come in here and getting in all the corners and all the grooves. And like I said, I will open my drawers and pull them out and then do all along the edges, because that's just kind of how I do it. Everybody has their own way when they're painting, how they're doing that. So you can kind of see how that's going along. Now let's move you back. I'm going to pull you back over here so you can kind of see that whole dresser and just about how long it took us to paint just the big part of it. And let me pull it this way a little bit. So you can see how that color is curing up right here. You can see how it's getting cure on this end. I'm going to try to, because it is so long. See if I can pull it, because I don't want to pull it off its. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful color. Roll her back a little bit so you can see where I'm working here. So I will be working pretty much on this corner, and make sure that there's no dust. So you can kind of look down the side. Look how beautiful that dresser is turning out to be. And that's nothing but a coat of paint, you guys. Just a coat of paint. A coat of paint will hide a multitude of sins. And especially when you have a grand line. You can see how much paint I've used here. You can kind of see in the jar there. I don't want to tilt it too far. Where what I've used along the way in the length of time that we've been here together on this workshop. I just want to kind of get in here and show you that within, how long have we been on here? Have we been on an hour, guys? Have we been on that long? I don't even think we've been on that long. Maybe an hour. Let's see. But anyway, now you could do this right in the comfort of your own home. You do not have to move your furniture outside in order to paint. Our paints don't have a big odor to them. So I'm going to do this on the other side. Come up underneath here and make sure that I get the color all the way around there. So I'm going to come in. Yes, and you'll see I'll go all in the same direction here. But first I'm going to get my paint on board. Sometimes I find it's easier to paint it like this and then come back in and do my and again, like I say, this is one coat coverage here. You see that I'm doing. You'll see I'm going to come back in here. I'm just getting my paint on and then come back in and kind of quick. Beautiful coverage. Look at the coverage. I can't say enough about the Silkline. Is gorgeous, gorgeous. It's so dreamy. It's so quick. It's so easy. It's simple. Anybody can paint with this line. You can paint with any of the lines, really, in my humble opinion, because they're so easy. And I'm going to just kind of pull this together. And you can kind of see. I'm pulling it back off, pulling it back out. Just kind of cleaning up my lines, basically, with that side. See how quick it is? Pretty easy, pretty quick. Not any trouble at all to just jump in there. Got that one other corner to do. Push her back over. What do you guys think? How do you think that, push it down that way, hopefully I won't touch anything, that gray, sorry, I'm going to move y'all, probably bring you up way too close, but I want to bring you in here so you can see this other side. How you feel that will look against the top with that gray. So I'm going to come in here and squeeze in this little tiny space. I squeezed y'all up in here. Well, let's get y'all over there. Pull y'all back this way so you can kind of see where we're at. So you can kind of see where we're working. Working in tight quarters, you guys. I'm coming here, make sure I get my paint to blend. See, you can see how easy it is to just blend it right in. I'm just gonna come in here and get this little cutie patootie painted. This beautiful dresser. And you guys just watch me paint it in this length of time. Now, it's much quicker after you obviously have your piece all ready and prepped. So you saw us do that the night before. I've been kind of holding off painting this piece for you guys to be with us on this live. So you can see just how simple and how quick you can have that bedroom dresser that you've been wanting to paint all this time, and you think it's going to take you all this prep time and all of that. You're seeing how quick that really is going to take you. It's really not going to take you. If you have children, if you have young children and you've got a couple of bedroom projects that you wanted to get painted, you can do it in the length of time that they're taking their nap. If you got real young, they still take naps. You know, it's not an all-day project. If you could squeeze yourself in an hour, you could get your projects done in less than an hour. And then they can dry and cure when the kids are up. Just close the bedroom door and let it dry. And when you walk back in there the end of the night, you will have your serenity room, all your new projects painted, and be able to enjoy the art of furniture painting. Is really, really fun, and it's soothing, it's relaxing, and it'll give you a whole new look in a matter of minutes. As you see here, we are finishing up, coming to the end of this beautiful dresser painting. And look how simple and fast and easy it really is. And I'm just cleaning up any lines. The oval medium brush for me, because my hand is so small, is a little heavier for my brush stroke. So you can kind of match a brush and to your brush stroke, if you will. And sometimes I'll find if you push too much pressure when you're putting your paint on, you'll find it kind of pulls it right back off on you. So there you go. There is that side completed. I'm going to pull her back over here. She's a heavy old dresser. And give you another look-see. Whoa, that side rolled easy. And bring y'all back on over here so that you can see her in her full bloom now. You can see how it looks, all one color. And like I say, I will be coming back in, pulling the drawers out and painting in between and on the tops of the drawers as well. and then we'll come in and paint the top a different color, pop on some stuff on that hardware, and that's how easy it is. Just took us however long we've been on this live. I'm not even sure how long we've been here, and there is your dresser pretty much. You got one coat coverage going on. As it's curing now, you can see from the light to the dark here is where it's curing just a tad darker than it looks when you're painting it on. So bear that in mind when you're choosing your color. And there you have it. Pretty much the end of this Thursday night on our Facebook Live. So hopefully you guys will have a most wonderful weekend. And we will see you on the other side on next Tuesday. And we'll come in and show you guys some of the other projects we'll be working on that week. So I hope everyone has a blessed weekend. Thank you for jumping on with us tonight. And we will see you again next week, Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Bye for now, everyone. Thank you so much for jumping on with us.